Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams. We're on Boxing Law on the Beltway and a very special edition of our news reports, news and notes. This is a special report as we are just literally, actually less than 24 hours away from the card at the D.C. Armory in Washington, D.C., Friday, April 1st. And we had the weigh-in today at the Bald Eagle Recreation Center, the home of the Headbangers in Southwest Washington, D.C., and a lot of interesting situations came out of that. And of course, the biggest one you've probably heard by now, if you haven't heard, Adrian Broner is now the former WBA super lightweight champion, and he will walk into the DC Armory in the main event without that title. And it's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. Now, Adrian Broner came in. First of all, he came late, as he is his custom, apparently, from what I've been told. It's his custom. He definitely did it. Came late to the press conference, came late to the weigh-in. And he weighed in, and let's be very frank about this. He weighed in naked. They had to cover him with the towels. Now, normally when that happens, it usually is during the second try for making weight. So, example, you go on the scale in your shorts, you may have your underwear on, and if you don't make weight, then you may try it again. You may try it again with all your clothes off. Well, we knew something was up because Broner, his first and only trip to the scale was with no clothes on, and he came in at 140.4 pounds. Ashley Theophane, who's been completely professional throughout this entire week, came in dressed to the nines at the press conference. He hit the super lightweight limit right on the head at 140 pounds. So he's ready to roll. He's ready to go, and kudos to him and his camp. They have been very professional all throughout this entire week. Broner, on the other hand, has not been. And of course, his legal problems notwithstanding, what he's done this week has been as unprofessional as I've seen in quite some time. Because not only did he come in overweight, he didn't even try to get that 4 ounces off his body. He just said the heck with it. And so what'll happen is when they have the fight Friday night, only Ashley Theophane can win the WBA super lightweight title. And if Broner wins the belt is vacant. And that's just a slap in the face to the WBA. It's a slap in the face to the fans that come to see him. Now, many people tomorrow night in a sold-out crowd at the D.C. Armory are probably going to look for him to lose. In other words, they're going to root for him to lose. Many people root for him to win. No question about that. He's that polarizing a figure at this stage. And it wouldn't be so bad if it was his first time in this situation. But it's in fact his second time. This is a man who, to his credit, has been a four-time world champion in 4 different weight divisions. Lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, and junior and super lightweight. He's been there. Let's try it again. Lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, and junior lightweight. That's what it is. Yeah, those are the 4 titles he's won in the 4 weight divisions. He's won them in. And when he was the super lightweight champion, the junior lightweight champion, he had an opportunity to defend his title against Vicente Escobedo, and he lost the title on the scales. He came in 3.5 pounds over the 130-pound weight limit. That's a boxer who doesn't care. That's a boxer who is so wrapped up in himself, in my personal opinion, that he doesn't care what his people talk, what his people do. He doesn't care how his people help him train. That includes folks right here in this area, the Barry Hunters and the Mike Staffords in the world. And he doesn't care. he just wants to go in there and win, look good, get his hair brushed, whatever, and he doesn't care. And that's a slap in the face, again, to the WBA, his own people, his fans that he has. And it's just blatantly unprofessional. Just blatantly unprofessional. And he really needs to really, because he's a marquee talent. He's a guy people are going to pay to see. I mean, this is the first sellout we've had in this area in a little bit of time. I mean, the closest we came to that may have been, and I don't even think this was a sellout when Lamont Peterson fought Amir Khan. We had a good crowd that night, but it wasn't sellout at the convention center. It was close, but I can't remember the last time we've had an out and out sellout in this area. I don't even, of course, it was a much bigger venue too, but when Mike Tyson fought Kevin McBride, that wasn't a sellout. It was a good crowd, great crowd. But it wasn't a sellout. But he slapped his face in the fans by talking about how he didn't want to be at the press conference to sell the bout because the bout had already been sold. You can't have that attitude. Because you want people to see you. And I know they're already going to see him, and that's all fine and good, but let's not have that attitude, really. So, to recap this, Adrian Broner will be in the fight against Ashley Theophane. Theophane can win the title if he beats Broner, but Broner cannot keep the title. He is now stripped of the title, and if Broner wins, the title becomes vacant. So that's where that stands. Now, there's one other situation. This is definitely a minor situation, because this is a situation where a boxer is growing into his body and he's going to make a transition from one weight class to another very soon. And that's Damon Nicholson out of Laurel, Maryland, the middleweight. And he will not be a middleweight anymore. I just don't see that happening. He's scheduled to fight. In fact, he will fight Joshua Okine. I guess they pronounced it Okine at the weigh-in, out of Accra, Ghana. And when they got on the scale today, Damon Nicholson weighed in at 164 for a middleweight bout. Okine hit the weight limit at 160. And again, this is a totally different situation, and he was shocked as anybody when the weight was read. As far as I've heard, the bout will still go on, but Nicholson will never be the middleweight again. He looked definitely drained. He did not look like he could keep that 160 any longer. He'll be a super middleweight, and I think he'll be a good super middleweight, in all honesty, because he's a strong guy, hits hard. He's gonna have a tougher time knocking people out, because it's going to be an 8-pound weight difference. But I think he'll be very good as a super middleweight. So I think this is it as far as him as a middleweight is concerned. He's just growing into his body. He's getting, he's a young guy still, but he's growing older, growing into his body. And I think 168 will be his next stop. So that's a little different situation, much different situation. But it's just that Nicholson can't do 160 anymore. That's about all there is to it. All the other weights you can see on the blog, Boxing Law on the Beltway. Patrick Harris's bout kind of in question, because now we were told at the press conference that Samuel Amawako was not going to be his opponent. Well, no one was there to weigh in against Patrick Harris today. So his status in this situation may be up in the air. We don't know whether or not they have an opponent for him and whether or not he will be competing on this card tomorrow night. Everybody else is pretty good, and it should be it should be a really, really nice card. There's some really good matchups. We talked about the matchups on the Beltway Boxing News and Notes podcast yesterday. Really excited to see Robert Easter against Algenis Mendez, and of course Gervonta Davis will open the PBC on Spike telecast at 9 p.m. and he and his opponent Guillermo Avila both weighed in at 131, so they are ready to go. And so it should be a very, very good night of boxing. If you don't have tickets, chances are you will not be able to get any by now. It's pretty much a done deal. There were only 200 left yesterday, and I'm pretty sure those went by pretty quickly. Reminder, the card begins at 5:30 Eastern time. Doors open at 5. And 5:30 p.m. Eastern time will be the first bout. They're going to move as quickly as they can. We've got 2 4-rounders, 2 6s, 1 8, and everything else. The last 5 bouts are all 10-round bouts. So 10 bouts on the card right now, barring what happens with Patrick Harris. But 10 bouts scheduled for the card. 5 will be scheduled 10-rounders. Again, 1 8-rounder, that's Damon Nicholson's bout. 2 6-rounders with Kareem Martin and Patrick Harris, and 4-rounders, including Shingas Khan Tazabai, and also Gerald Tucker out of Cincinnati, Ohio. He is 5-0-1 KO. He'll take on now Anthony Napunyi. I believe he's out of Accra, Ghana as well. Don't have a record on him. He was a very late sub in that situation, so it will not be Giovanni Vasquez as we talked about yesterday. And for those who missed it, there was a last-minute change on the weigh-in site. And again, I had some conversations with people on the commission about that situation and why the weigh-in was even scheduled to be at the Gaylord, as I said yesterday, is totally beyond me. It's never happened before. It never should happen. And fortunately it did not. And really, they could have had the public there at the Balding Hill Recreation Center, the home of the Headbangers. But the only problem with that place, and this is the only problem, because that place is beautiful, by the way. If you've never been there, you need to go through there. And we weren't even in the boxing gym location. We were in the gymnasium, the basketball gymnasium. And that is just a very nice state-of-the-art facility in Southwest Washington, D.C. And the only issue with it is that there's very little room for parking. You got to park on the street. And that'd have been the issue to getting the public there. But a lot of great people were there in attendance. I saw, of course, Hall of Famer Mark Too Sharp Johnson was there. Daryl Terrell Petit Tyson. I saw Dusty Harrison. He was talking to people about his next bout against Mike Dallas that we talked about on the podcast yesterday. Austin Trout, who trains here, former WBA champion, he trains here. He's getting ready for his big bout against Jamal Charlo in about a month or two. And I believe that bout is going to be in Houston, Texas now. May 21st is the date for that bout. And it's going to be in Houston, Texas, from what I've been told. A number of great people. Nate Jones, former Olympian, Nate Jones, who's the trainer for Ashley Theophane, I believe. Yeah, he's trainer for Ashley Theophane. Also, former world champion Eddie Mustafa Muhammad was there. And so many others. Just some great people were there. A lot of the local boxers, saw Mike Yes Indeed Reed and many others in attendance. So it's great to see the support. We sometimes talk negatively about the lack of support that DC boxers give other DC boxers in situations like that, but they were in full force here at the weigh-in yesterday. So don't forget, here on the Boxing on the Beltway Google app for Android, we'll have a post undercard podcast that'll recap the undercard, and we'll have a post-fight wrap-up show immediately following the main event. And hopefully get some interviews along the way. We shouldn't have any problems with the Wi-Fi at the DC Army. Last time we were there in March, it worked very, very well. So we should have a lot of fun getting you some great interviews and giving you some reports from the DC Army on tomorrow, Friday, April 1st. Remember, you can listen to us right here on the Boxing on the Beltway Google app for Android. Subscribe to the Boxing on the Beltway pages on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio.com, and YouTube. So hope you'll join us. Hope you'll join us at the DC Army. If not, we will talk to you throughout the evening, tomorrow night, Friday, April 1st, at the DC Army. And then don't forget, Saturday, April 2nd, we'll be live from the Washington Golden Gloves Championship Finals at Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland. We'll be on the air at 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. Till then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world. The boxing along the Beltway. Take care.